nature of your world is far more intricate than you realize. So you're living a day-to-day experience, you're in cause and effect, you're reacting to your world around you, and that's really one part of the recipe of life. It's only one part. And often we're really limited in our thinking in this modern cosmovision of cause and effect. But the question is, where is our life being sourced from? Where are we experiencing our world from? And the timeline idea starts to put a construct in motion or an understanding that there is something to our world that's just bigger than this reality. And if we can understand that there is other influences affecting our lives, then we can start to create a different life if we want to, by first understanding, changing the momentum of our world, and by having processes to help ourselves manage our experiences. So we are living on Earth right now in a physical form, but we are bigger than this physical form. Another way to put it is like we're one bloom on a plant, and there's multiple blooms potentially in one plant rooted to the earth, and perhaps we're living multiple timelines simultaneously. Perhaps we're only living one timeline. Perhaps there's many influences connected to our one timeline. Everybody's different. So the words I like to use is we are the snowflake. We're all wired a little differently, but we are all being informed by personal information, by family information, and by collective, meaning there are many humans with a similar story that we might be connected to that we would call an alternate timeline, an alternate theme. So I intermix the words theme, timeline, momentum, so that people understand there's a trajectory in your life. So today I wake up happy and everything is going really well, and I have an agenda in my mind and I have an itinerary and everything's going a certain way, and then somebody cuts me off in rush hour traffic. And I'm now agitated. I'm now upset. And the rest of the day kind of goes with that theme. So you say, okay, was that just a timeline shift? And I'd say, yeah. But both timelines are running for you. You can have a really happy day, you can have a not so happy day. Both of them are connected to you. Which one is being fueled today? Based on the choices we make, the engagements we have with our environment, and perhaps even the experiences that are out of our control. Some of it's not in our control. The person cutting me off was not in my control, but it affects my momentum. It affects how I live in this day, in this time. So we are living multiple timelines simultaneously. Another way to look at it is we think about a grid, and we're in this beautiful center, and all of this energy is around us, and then it starts to expand out to all these other energies that are around us that we have resonance with. So we obviously have resonance with someone who cuts us off because they're another human being on the same road. There's a connection of some sort. So that's the doorway. That's the energy vibration that then comes back in and affects us because we have a doorway to that information. But perhaps there's something else that might be happening in our grid that we don't have resonance with, we don't relate to. Perhaps there's a death that takes place or a birth that takes place, still connected to our grid, but because we're not paying attention there, or we're not focused there, or because we don't have resonance there, we don't even know it's happening. So then we get a phone call from a loved one, oh, so-and-so just gave birth to a brand new baby. And you go, oh, wonderful. That's great. I'm so happy. It's a distant cousin's, given birth. And you go, oh, great. Suddenly you then have resonance to that story, right? Mm-hmm. So that timeline then starts to flow into your life. And either you fuel it, you connect to it, you engage with it, or you don't. but it's still there. It didn't go away. That person gave birth. It's a literal engagement, right? But then either we interact with it or we don't. Does that make sense? So it's where you are operating. Your main operating system is pretty solid. It doesn't really change. But then we have these other operating systems, other timelines that then start to flow into our life. And either they stick or they just flow right back out, depending on your resonance for that day. And so timeline is a really good way to define it. It's a theme. It's a momentum. And it can be positive or it can be negative. It can even be neutral, but you're not going to notice neutral. Humans don't notice neutral. They notice positive or negative. So I'm in a positive timeline today. Things are going really well. Or I kicked my foot on the bed when I woke up in the morning and nothing has gone well since. Those are timelines. So when we were hunters and gatherers 10,000 years ago, we saw one person a day if we were lucky, except for our clan, right? And we knew our clan. Our clan didn't change much. Their momentum was pretty solid. But today, we're interacting with 1,000 people potentially. You know, when you think of all the people you've interacted online, the people you've seen in your day-to-day work, your family coming in and out with all their interactions, we are really weaving a lot more influence in our lives than we ever did even 100 years ago. The question is, what's flowing into your world that you're not paying attention to that could affect you in a really positive way, but it could really impact you in a negative way? And that's what we need to start to manage. We need to understand what's running for us that we like. We want to build that up. And what we don't like, we need to shut down. Sooner than later, because momentum is getting faster. As you see, another way to put it is, and this is kind of funny, time is speeding up. We're creating faster and faster. We're experiencing faster and faster. You know, you look at consciousness right now. People are online. They can, you know, you can find something out from around the world in seconds now. So what's coming into your world is important because it affects your moods, it affects your experience, it affects physical health, emotional, spiritual health.